I'm Benjamin Baker. I'm a violinist. I was born in New Zealand, but moved over to the UK when I was about 9 to go to the Hudi School, and I'm really looking forward to coming and playing the Lark Ascending. I've sort of had this sort of constantly this feeling that so much of all violin music is we're trying to imitate the human voice. Now, of course, the one thing we can never imitate is actually words. So many things. I mean, of course, there are songs without words written by composers, but there's lots of violin music where I feel that we almost need to imagine what words could be set to it, and also just in terms of how you articulate a phrase. Where would you put consonants if there were, if you had that, that ability? So no, it's something I often think about, this kind of the wordplay and the relationship between words and music. It's a piece I have played a few times before, and I think rightly so. It's a big favourite in the UK, and oddly there's also a tradition of it coming out around Christmas in Australia, but it seems that those are the two most popular places on opposite sides of the world. But for me, it's a beautiful piece, and it's a really there's something very organic about it. The way that it kind of just begins so simply, and he spins out this beautiful kind of fantasia, which is led part from the violin, but also from the orchestra. So you sort of have these kind of joint protagonists sort of going on, and it's always nice for me to come and play it as a violinist, because it's just something a little bit different. It's not, it's not got a typical form for a violin concerto, and so whenever whoever you play it with, whichever orchestra, new things come out of it, and it gives me ideas. It forces me to reevaluate how I think certain things should be expressed within it. So yeah, I enjoy it a lot. Constantly challenging. For me personally, I'm very grateful to some phenomenal professors and teachers who I've had the privilege of working with. For a long time I studied here in the UK with Natasha Boyarsky and then Felix Andrievsky, who, when you work with people throughout your entire childhood, it becomes this sort of bond where they're essentially part of your family, and as music is a part of your life, you wouldn't be the musician you are without them. And so yeah, it's a very sort of personal bond, and yeah, I owe them everything. Yehudi Menuhin has a very famous saying, which is that a bird doesn't get up in the morning and decide not to fly. So a violinist or instrumentalist, shouldn't get up in the morning and decide not to play. And so, definitely, when playing with orchestra, there's sort of a different creative process in terms of how to bring the best out of the text and out of the score, and I guess being prepared, because obviously we are one small part of a very much larger organism when we're playing concertos, and so I think I just always come ready to be flexible, as well as to challenge and be challenged by whoever I'm playing with. Be prepared to work hard. It seems to almost always, I remember being young, it's like, you come to these things and it's always more fun than you think it's going to be, but also quite often more intense, and I still find that now. In kind of the best possible ways, when you have that many musicians in one place and you're working towards a concert, there's a sort of electricity that seems to develop, which is a really wonderful and powerful thing. But yeah, it makes having a holiday at the same time quite hard. See you at the summer course.